Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Scaling Vision podcast. Neha ma'am, I think you are my first guest, and after it's been a year, I'm calling you
Yes.
all over again. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's pleasure for me to be here. Let me tell you. समीर तुझ्याशी बोलायला ना मजा येते.
Thank you. I, I think 20th October last
Yes,
time
last time, yes.
was the first. I think it's been almost 1 year.
Yes.
I had a lot of guests.
Lot of guests and beautiful podcasts.
And I wanted to finish my 1 year round with my first guest.
Okay.
So thank you for being here. Always.
And thank you for inviting.
So I want this episode for whosoever will watch this, mostly doctors and ophthalmologists. This should be give them a framework of entire ophthalmology setup.
Okay.
How a single practitioner can start and scale it to a
Multi-speciality or multi...
That is how we're
Yeah,
going to talk
center.
about. So we'll exchange ideas.
Yes.
But so we'll start with some basic questions, I think. Why should you think about starting your own private practice?
It's very simple. You are your own boss. That's the reason why people start private practice, you know. But is it a correct time to start a private practice is a question we have to ask. It depends on the market. See, I always say that there is a hyper locality to marketness of any healthcare system. Like for example, if you are in a remote city of say Bihar, there maybe you have to be a only private practitioner in that area. But in the bustling cities, say Mumbai, say Pune or Nagpur, you may have to think about collecting your resources together. So their group practice, institutional practice may be helpful.
But I think not everybody is cut out for private practice.
Absolutely.
You need a very different kind of a mindset
Yes.
to be able to get into private practice. I mean, if somebody's aim is, I want to have a 10 to 5 job and have a stable pay, you are probably not meant for private practice. No. If you're happy, I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong to you have a job. At times, even I think about it, 10 to 5 hota, sukhi jeevan. But I don't think I can work under authority. That is one of my main reasons.
Issue, yeah.
So if a person, I mean, we can talk about 20 years back, it was quite easy,
Yeah.
Shuru kiya, you grow with the age, but in 2025, it's a completely different ball game.
It is completely different ball game because there are three things which has happened. First, the number of doctors. Of course, there is a competition. Number two, expectations of patient. Because patients are also getting educated.
Barabar.
And third, information technology, and you can say it's a blast of information for the patient. So overall, information and misinformation of the patient.
Both.
So these three things have changed a lot. So I think everybody is very demanding. Even you as a customer of anything are now more demanding. So even our I will not say customer, our patients
Clients,
are also demanding. And I feel that's part and parcel of the growth.
But if anybody wants to start a practice in 2025, should he or she be looking at a single practice? Let's talk about urban centers only.
Okay.
Tier 1, Tier 2 cities
Tier
at
1,
present.
Tier 2 city.
Should he or she be looking at a completely single solo practice? Or should 3 or 4 like-minded people come
together? Yes.
Which
yes.
is what makes sense to me nowadays.
Yeah.
What is your take on this?
See, it completely depends. If you think that you can manage single-handedly, you are ready to work even more than 12 hours a day, I think even a single practitioner will work. But again, you will be able to give or offer services which are limited to one area only. Group practice advantage is you can offer multiple sets of services under one roof, so patients are happy. You don't lose patients. And second and most important thing, which I feel, is that you also grow with other people. See, doing practice single-handedly is always going to be easy because you are the boss, you are the dictator of the rules. But when you are coming together, then rules have to be discussed, set, practiced, and monitored. These all things have to be done. And I think it's little difficult, but it's not that difficult that nobody should try it.
When trying for a group practice or a single solo practice, how should you choose the location? A lot of times I see people saying कि जहाँ पे कोई भी नहीं है, go to a virgin area, that you will get work. My thinking is you should go into an area where there is already work. I mean, competition breeds more, is
more.
what I think.
Yeah.
What is your take on this?
See, everyone wants blue ocean.
हाँ.
Blue ocean is जहाँ पे कोई competition नहीं है, patients are ready to come to you. But this never happens.
That's never
Never
happened.
happens.
That is why I feel.
You are always left with two choices. One, medium-sized patients, but patients know what exactly will be happening, what exactly is, suppose cataract surgery, I want to do a cataract surgery, like that kind of patient, but a competition. Or you have a less competition, but the patient also is reluctant to come to you. So my point, it is not like you have a blue ocean strategy. Your strategy of practice will differ. If you are working in already a competitive setup, where already patients are knowing what exactly is going on in the surrounding, it's easy. You don't have to approach patient to come to you. But whenever you are working in a virgin area, you have to actually start telling patient, the patient education becomes
Trust
more
building starts
trust
probably.
building, patient education, creating need for your services is also very important. And there you have to concentrate in virgin areas or in the peripheral areas or areas where there is no competition.
Is there some way we can do in catchment analysis?
Yes, there are a lot of, nowadays people are there, professional people who do catchment analysis, or you can discuss with your colleagues. Colleagues also will give you an idea about, how which people are coming to you, what kind of mentality they have, what kind of setup they want, or what kind of setup they have, and now you find some issues with that, and you can improve on that and create your own practice.
Moving on to what should be the investment size for a solo person initial. We don't want the person to be burdened under EMI because nahi hona chahiye. And if you are going into good practice, so that is a lot of money.
Even for that, I always say you should have your numbers with you. There is nothing wrong in putting a huge amount of money in the start. If you feel that a huge practice, a practice which will have a so-called very unique or boutique practice type of thing, if you want to set up, no issue, your investment will be higher. Even the patients coming to you will be paying higher. But there are two things I feel should be done by everyone, whatever, boutique practice or routine practice. First, sit down and actually calculate what is your investment size. Generally, what I have done, I have also studied I have made Excel sheets in experimental manner. I have seen still the investment in Tier 2 city, in Nagpur. If you're not buying, if you're just renting, it is still to the tune of about 60 to 80 lakh rupees with instrumentation and OT. If you don't want OT, then the size goes down. You can go up to even 2 CR. 2 crore also can be your practice size. But मैंने बोला वैसे, two things. First and foremost, your calculation about patient should be good. Your analysis about the area should be good. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए आपने 2 CR किया and then only 3 patients you receive in a day. This should not happen.
No.
Another thing is that the more you invest, more you have to again keep on investing till you get a break-even point.
Yeah.
Okay. Problem with break-even point in higher investment is that it is longer.
Yeah.
See, in case of, I told you, if it is a lower investment type of model, then your break-even point comes within 6 to 8 months or 1.5 years if you are working in a very highly competitive environment. But in a setting where there is not much competition, but your investment size is very high, still you will get 1.5 year, till you will need a 1.5 year of break-even time. Break-even time, matlab your earning is equivalent to your spending. So that comes 1.5 year back, even if you're earning good. If the competition is high, it will even take further time, maybe 2.5 to 3 years. So that much amount of money you have to again reinvest in a practice which is a high-end practice. Reinvesting again is not an issue, but bootstrapping tightly before you start is an issue. Why people get frustrated, I have seen, is that they invest a lot, everything in beginning only, and then they don't have anything till they reach the break-even point. And that is the period of frustration. 1.5 years to 2 years. That's the period of frustration.
But regarding the investment size, because now again, different times. Earlier, uh, a single doctor used to put in a certain set of money and he used to grow in a phase-wise
Yes.
manner.
Yes.
Is it still acceptable nowadays in tier 1 and tier 2 cities ki a doctor will have basic works and he will keep on upgrading those slowly? Or you need to start with a bang and have everything?
I don't think
What
so.
works?
It completely depends on how you want to grow
Okay.
and what is your competition. See, I always say there are 4 forces. It's a beautiful, already it's been established that you have to look at the market, you have to look at competition, you have to look at, अगर आप basic level पे ही करोगे तो दूसरा आके आपके पास में बैठेगा ही ना. So that is called as barrier, entry barrier. So entry barrier will be lesser. If you are doing a practice which is higher end, entry barrier will be higher. But the point is that you have to keep on investing into your practice for some time.
What about this concept of, I read this in the book somewhere, ki pay yourself first.
Yes.
It's very important.
Yes.
And I see a lot of doctors are unable to do that.
Yes.
So how should you look at it?
No. See, basically, when you are bootstrapping, pay yourself first becomes your last concern.
Exactly.
But when you start growing, at that time you have to withdraw some amount for your own self, and that money will be used for your things, and the money which you have earned in your practice will be separated so that that can be easily reinvested or distributed depending upon how is your practice.
So this distinction should be made after a certain point of
At
time.
it is
Ki-
practical to make it
कि
after certain
my
point
establishment
of
will
time.
earn its own money.
Yes.
And
And I
it
will earn
I will
different
earn
money.
a different set of money.
Yes.
My establishment will pay me a certain money.
A very simple
Yeah.
example I have seen that many a times driver comes, madam iska itna ho gaya, and then whatever money you have earned from the OPD you give him. This is your money. But then there are two things. You don't understand how much you are earning from the hospital and how much you are spending as an individual.
Very true.
So these two things, for that you need boundaries.
Perfect example actually. I like it.
So boundaries setting, and the boundary setting is nothing but you withdraw your own money. So that actually that gives you a transparency. So if people are coming to you, they will also start saying कि नहीं उनका पेमेंट अलग रहता है, वो अलग पैसे यहाँ से पैसे देती है. But at the same time you also start analyzing two different sets of spending, through some sets of earning in a different way. So you will spend for yourself differently then, and you will spend for your hospital differently.
I mean,
So definitely
I love that, but a dream would be for any doctor कि my hospital is earning and it's able to pay me a certain money at the end of the month, whatever it is, and whatever upgradation the hospital needs,
Yes.
which would be coming from the hospital's revenue itself.
yeah.
That's a dream setup. I
Yes.
think that is what everybody is trying to chase.
Yes.
It's easier said than done, I know.
But if you are separating, the analysis of profit and loss also is very easy.
I think it's also good for the taxation purpose.
Absolutely.
You know, as a hospital entity, you're taxed differently.
And
As an
per-
individual, you can be taxed differently.
and you know that even you can be single partner business also.
Yeah. Next point. What should you look at? A proprietorship, a partnership, LLP, what should it be?
First and foremost, proprietorship in this era is not good.
Okay.
Because you are handling everything on your shoulders. मतलब loss in the hospital is even your your personal gains will be attached to that. So that's why proprietary concerns I feel should not be your first priority. Better to go for partnership,
LLP.
or you can go for even single a member partnership.
private limited
Company, single member, single director can be there. If you want to join in people, it becomes easy. Your liability of your personal assets doesn't is not there. So theoretically speaking, partnership is a very good thing.
The list of all the licensing, registration, biomedical waste, fire, NABH license. I think fire and licensing is important. सबसे पहले
Yes.
your place needs to be hospital compliant.
Yes.
Biomedical waste follows.
Yes.
Fire is required.
Yes.
Old setups में नहीं था, but you can keep on doing it. You are not going to get NABH.
Absolutely.
If you are starting afresh, you need to start thinking from NABH.
NABH point of view.
So anything else we need to do?
About NABH, I'll take a minute here. Many people say that NABH is too much. NABH is not required. I feel, when you start doing NABH, you start thinking from the point of view of quality. and not the perceived quality. See,
Okay.
my perceived quality may
Please
be.
double click and zoom in here. हाँ.
So, what is perceived quality
Exactly.
and what is quality? So, perceived quality, I may be saying, no, my hospital is clean, but hospital may not be clean. I may be saying my surgical skill is very good, but the outcomes are not that. I'm only looking at the best possible outcome and I'm saying my surgical outcome is good. But when you are going for NABH, you start understanding about protocols, you start understanding about how to define success, what are the defining methods of quality. You start analyzing your work, you start analyzing your colleagues' work. You can put things to the word कि ये आपको करना है, so that it becomes easy for the person who is working with you or under you to follow those instructions. So I feel NABH is very helpful from that point of view.
It basically changes your thinking, structured thinking.
Structured
Yeah,
thinking.
that
It
is
brings
what
a
helps.
structured thinking in your practice.
Insurance also. NABH is a
Yes.
roadblock to getting insurance.
Absolutely.
And nowadays, since insurance penetration is increasing in India day by day, this is.
But let me tell you, insurance penetration is also increasing, and insurance payment to ophthalmology is also going to go down. Let me tell you frankly.
Oh, why?
The reason is, see, consider a basic question. What is insurance? Insurance is basically जब मेरे हेल्थ का कोई इशू आता है and suddenly I need to pay in lakhs, I should be having that money. But is a cataract surgery such an emergency? Think of from the point of view of an insurance company.
It's an elective procedure.
It is an elective procedure. So instead of paying for elective procedure more, I can, pay more to a patient and really help the patient from the point of view if I give him for the really needed interventions, say cardiac surgery, cardiology procedures, or accident cover, or even cancer. Cancer nowadays has the exponentially grown and the cost has gone very high. The reason is because now we are able to afford something which were not affordable few years back. And their insurance company will say, no, I'll pay there. So, but naturally, your so-called elective procedures will be paid less and the actual life-threatening things will be paid more.
Okay. But this already happens.
This is happening.
We already have almost somewhere in the 25, 30, 40 के range में अभी cataract का अपने को मिलता है. But what about a patient, and we keep on reading about this in various forums कि a patient wanted a multifocal lens but the insurance company said no, पर उसने कर लिया and then he took them to the court and the court eventually said you have to pay. This is a one-off case.
Yeah.
I totally agree. How should a doctor look at these things कि अगर insurance company से मेरे को शायद कम ही मिलने वाला है, so should I be forgetting about NABH and ये सब चीज़ें? What is the answer?
The answer is your cost structure.
Okay.
I always say, many people ask me कि कितना costly हो रहा है. मैंने कहा अपने cost कम करो. You don't need to. I always say, don't go what companies feed you. Don't consider something companies feed you is true. So you have to analyze your own cost structure. कि क्या cost में मैं कैसे रख सकती हूँ so that I can offer these qualities in this much range. So when I can give you my own example, when I decided कि okay, now I'm going to structure my costing and I'm not going to keep much of a difference between not much, मतलब the patient should feel कि नहीं थोड़ा तो मैं extra pay कर रहा हूँ, but at the same time he should not be saying कि अरे मैं बहुत ही ज़्यादा pay कर रहा हूँ.
Value driven consumers है ना.
Value driven consumers. So give them more value for a very small jump in a cost. So that only you can do if your cost structure is very stable.
If somebody it's very easy. Log on to Apple ka website and you will see iPhones or iPads ka upgradation.
Yes.
So if you will see an iPhone 17, but it comes with, let's say 120 GB comes for example 80,000 rupees. But 128 GB में usually आजकल नहीं होता है. But the 256 is available for say 110. But the Pro version 17 Pro is available at just 120.
Yes.
पर 120 का 128 से नहीं होगा आपका.
Yes.
तो that is how
the
they
cost structure
eventually take you
yes.
to the Pro Max model. That is wonderfully they do it.
Yes. But more than that, let me tell you, see, I feel you are also responsible for keeping a cost at check. let me be frank. This is what I feel from the ethical point of view. That cost should be kept at check. How you manage that is personal choice, everyone's personal choice, but cost should be kept
I'll
at
tell you
check.
what feedback what I get from a lot of doctors. I've talked to a lot of them. A lot of doctors are unable to raise their prices year on year.
Yes.
So basically, it is the inflation that is eating away into the profits.
Absolutely.
So that then after 5 years you take a big jump.
Jump,
है ना?
yeah.
Suddenly your one surgery you were charging 50,000. After 5 years you're suddenly taking it to 70,000. I think it's not difficult to raise your prices
It's not
by
difficult,
10%
but it has,
or 8 to 10%.
it has to be
every year.
very
हाँ.
gradual rise. Very gradual.
थोड़ा सा पेशेंट से यू गेट अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ रेजिस्टेंस. अरे सर अभी तो पैसे बढ़ा दिए, बट आई थिंक they'll eventually
They
हो
will
जाता है
eventually
वो.
हो जाता है.
Do you think about a clinic model or should somebody think about a hospital model? Manje,
It completely
Manje,
depends.
because nowadays I'm seeing a lot of new doctors. They are not willing to do that. उनको वो stress नहीं चाहिए कि I will buy this, I will buy that. The uncertainty, they cannot live with the
Absolutely.
uncertainty. So my thinking process is, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the next 5 to 10 years, we are going to have doctors working with multiple OPDs,
Absolutely.
and there will be one single area
Single
where
OT,
they will.
yes. This is going to happen.
This is going to happen.
Rather, I feel to control cost and to offer better services, we also should be, like for example, a very simple thing. If I go and buy a LASIK, then I have to increase everything. मतलब मेरे cataract से फिर मैं मेरा LASIK का payment करूँगी. So instead of that, have group practice, purchase LASIK in a group, and then you do your own practice. So similar model is going to be there even for OT. Similar model is going to be there for even investigative modalities like big instrumentations like OCT, OCTA, your perimetry, your dry eye analysis, everything. So yes.
What should be the space planning like in let's say you start a छोटा सा setup? What should be the OPD का size कितना होना चाहिए, OT का
See,
size
there is
कितना होना
nothing.
चाहिए?
There is nothing
Pharmacy
sacrosanct.
and-
It is
okay.
nothing sacrosanct. First and foremost, how much patients you expect in that area. For example, if you are going to run a hospital in an area which is already too much crowded, you cannot expect more than 4 to 5 patients a day. Okay, but of course you have to think from the point of view of 7 years down the line, 10 years down the line. So 4 के बढ़ के कितने होंगे? 50 तो नहीं होंगे. 4 के बढ़ के 12 हो जाएंगे over the period of say 5-7 years. So you should be able to fit in at least अगर आपका initial that is called as footfall. Initial footfall is going to be 4 patients a day. It will increase to 12 patients a day. So उसको उतने तक आपको जाना है. And अगर 12 patients a day से भी ज़्यादा है, I think then that should be a time when you need to upgrade.
Yeah, nice.
मतलब not 12 patients I'm saying when you have thought कि 7 years में मेरा इतना हो जाएगा और 7-10 years के बाद आपका seriously बढ़ रहा है, then that's the time to upgrade.
Right. Also, should you be looking at verticals like a in-house pharmacy and an in-house optical
They are
outlet?
low-hanging fruits. Definitely, you have to think about it.
है ना?
Low pharmacy, optician shop, even small eateries. Nowadays, all patients at least need a coffee or tea when they are waiting for their
I'm
patients.
seeing it in some hospitals.
Yes.
There's a small chai samosa outlet outside.
Yes.
Um,
So I think those are low-hanging fruits. Definitely, we should go for them.
What are the principles in designing the OT area, sterile area? What are the workflows should you think
See,
about?
OT
Sterile workflow.
sterile.
basically.
What is important in OT is that you should be able to operate patient cleanly without any infection. आपको OT का infection control HEPA से ही होगा. I am not very pro about it because ophthalm OT you need HEPA is not compulsory. Let me tell you, HEPA is only compulsory in case of transplant. But if you want to grow in a transplant area, or if you are thinking that I'm going to operate more than 5 or 7 cases a day, then you may have to think about HEPA filters and everything. Secondly, there has to be a very, very good definition of unclean area, clean area, and sterile area. So that definition, if you do, then what you can do till where becomes very clear. Like for example, till where you can wear your street clothes, till where you can wear your own shoes, till where you have to wear a mask and cap and sterile changing clothes. That becomes very easy to follow. Now about the sterilization area has to be unidirectional.
Oh, okay.
It has to be unidirectional. Again, you can make it process unidirectional. Like for example, I am bringing in instrument just like that, but when they are going out, they are in a sterile trolley, which is steriled by the application of bacillocid for 5 minutes, and then you allow it to dry, and then you are keeping your sterile instrument and then bringing it out. So that becomes a process unidirectional flow. It can be actual physical in unidirectional flow or process unidirectional flow. So you can adjust your process if you don't have space.
When should a doctor think about expanding the physical infrastructure? You already answered this question. What should be the essential bare minimum machines that you should be starting with? एक तो आपका ये हो गया chair unit, slit lamp,
Yes.
AR machine, a good refraction set. AR के तो आजकल I think by default ही आता है. Do you need an NCT? I'm very on the boundary.
See, I am a glaucoma specialist also, so
Even I am a glaucoma. Na,
so do you really think NCT is needed? I feel NCT is needed when your timing for sterilization is not enough between two patients. Like I feel that if you are cleaning with bacillocid, then you need 2 to 3 minutes between two patients. So 2 to 3 minutes if you don't have, then I think NCT is very, very helpful.
What do you think about these all-in-one machines जो आ रहे हैं आजकल?
Space saving, why
Space
not?
saving, why not?
Why not?
Packy adjusted,
Absolutely.
you get ARK, everything.
Absolutely.
But all the old doctors, like 2-3 generations above us, they say patients को बहुत सारी मशीनें दिखनी चाहिए. But I don't think the patients think from that angle anymore.
Otherwise, what you can do, आपका जो बंद पड़ा हुआ मशीन है वहाँ पे रख दो ना.
बहुत लोग करते हो. See that.
Point is not that. And nowadays, everywhere patients see machines.
So the more machine they see, the more convinced the patient is ki, and I've also read about this somewhere or in a conference, the more counters the patient go to during consultation, the more happy he is.
No, there are some patients who, patients have complained me. मेरे खुद के पेशेंट्स कि मैडम 2-3 लोगों से एग्जामिनेशन करने के लिए हम यहाँ पे आए ही नहीं है. We have come here to meet you. So my point is, there actually you need to actually ask your patients, because every patient strata is different. Every patient strata के patient का thinking is different. Like for example, patient may tell you कि I have come for you, I want you to examine me. While there is a patient who says नहीं मुझे सब examination करके जाना है. So then multiple heads will be helpful, and that's why I said listen to your patients, ask your patients, give them feedbacks if you are really changing the, like for example, one patient once told me many years back, madam आपका interior is not good. I changed my interior and actually sent the photo to the patient saying that you told me that there is a need for upgradation for our ambience, and we changed. He was so happy. He said, thank you ma'am for listening to me. So I feel we should listen to our patients. Our patients
this happened with me also. We have this old window AC, तो भिंती तसा ठेवलेला. So during summers when we used to switch it on, it used to be very loud at a point of time. And once or twice a few of my patients pointed out, oh, sir, शोभा नहीं देता आपको ऐसा है, सब बदलो ना. Eventually we overdid the entire thing. And when we were doing the puja of that place, during it was a family affair, I sent my driver to get those 2-3 patients के अंदर घेऊन ये. And they were so happy. Ki we give sweets and prasadas, they were very, very happy. And I totally understand. You listen to your patients. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. And I think a brutal feedback mechanism I have started to keep in place right now. Give me a brutal feedback. Tell me what I can do better. So,
but interview style by doctor is not a good method for brutal feedback mechanism. No, they will never tell. The doctor is always good for the patient point of view.
They won't come and talk to me. We have given, there is a Google Forms which I have done, which is anonymous.
Yes.
I don't need to know your name.
Absolutely.
Fill it and tell. So it comes on my email. That is how I put it in place.
Yes. Then the patients will be more truthful.
खूप छान feedback
येतात.
आणि eventually I thought कि patient बोलेगा कि नहीं price खूप जास्ती है. I have never talked about price.
Never.
It was so nice place. So coming back to the machines.
Yes.
Other than NCT, what should more?
See, if no, I told you, NCT, I feel there should be a specific number. If not, then you can even go for a planation tonometry, Goldman tonometry done by doctor is also fine, or train your staff to do that. Then you also need, I feel, indirect, direct, or something, or fundus photo. If you want to convince patient, nowadays there are handheld fundus photos also where you can show the patient, see, this is happening. Now you will have a printout. So I think that's.
And I guess the slit lamp should also have, it is a must now.
Yeah.
Entry segment imaging.
Photograph, yes, imaging.
It's very important.
Yes.
Convincing the patient, the transparency increases the
Yes. Yes.
Also, nowadays a lot of cities we are seeing this model of doctors are not buying OCTs,
They're renting.
biometers. So there'll be certain 2-3 players in and around the city. You just give them a call, they'll come, get the machines, you do whatever you want, and you pay the rent of the machine, and they go away. Is this sustainable?
This model is not viable from the 2 point of view.
Okay.
First and foremost, our machines are very, because our machines are little, what you can say, nazuk, very difficult to transport kind. Another thing is that when you are transporting so many times, the calibration and everything has to be in place. So I think rather than, calling patient, just because you feel that patient will be lost, have a center. Rather than those one person earning more, you 4 people come together, have a center which is, within 1 kilometer reach. You take patient there, investigate and bring back.
Nice idea.
So my point is, but because what happens, physically things are there, you are not damaging the instrument. And second and most important thing, the calibration and all other issues never happen.
Very true. But in a machine like OCT, calibration से क्या फर्क पड़ेगा?
नहीं, लेकिन अगर optics हिल गए तो?
That your image will distort it.
Yes.
ते तो तुमको आपको सीधा सीधा report. As long as I think OCT तो you should eventually have, because it's a revenue generating machine. For a perimeter.
Revenue generating also, and your clarity of your thinking also it helps.
Definitely. Also, there is this, a lot of people, should you buy new machines or should you just refurbish machines? There is
Absolutely your call. I feel refurbished machines are also good because, some person is taking responsibility for that. Even if you have, like, for example, I met with this guy who is running this Medica Bazaar. So,
I know.
So he really told that, we are taking responsibility of the machine. If it breaks, then we are sending our man to repair it. So, if they are taking responsibility, I feel refurbished is also a good option. My point is, you should sit down, calculate. If the calculation is telling you that you are, rather than refurbished machine, if you take a new machine, then, taking a new machine later on becomes easy, because then you can deal with the company.
Very true.
मेरा आपका पहले का मशीन है, चलो मुझे नया दे दो या अपग्रेड करके दे दो.
बराबर. What should be some pointers during vendor negotiations and maintenance planning?
A very, very important point. Thank you for bringing it up. Many people negotiate very hard initially. But I feel it's not just a machine, but disposables and AMC, CMC you need to look at. If you are negotiating too hard, then they may not give you AMC, CMC or the disposable replacement that easily. So rather than, bringing down the money, you can always say, I am going to negotiate on this point and tell me the price. If not, and of course, negotiation is must. You know that there is a huge margin of profit for these people. But my point is, negotiate on these all 4 points. 1 machine, 2nd disposable, 3rd AMC, 4th CMC, and 5th replacements in future.
That is a good replacement. Yes. That's a good point. Let's come to the staff.
Yes.
How do you hire and train a staff? How do you skill them up for your needs? Staff retention and
all staff
training.
related.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, मुझे लगता है कि लोगों को
Pain
हाँकना
point है ये सब.
लोगों को हाँकना difficult है. Clinical practice is easy. Many people say you hire attitude rather than, skill set. So depends. We prefer to hire attitude. We generally don't hire those who have a huge degrees. The reason maybe and other people may need it. Like for example, if there is a huge corporate hospital, they will need it because they need to take all the permissions and all, and KRA KPS will define that you should have GNM, that you should have ANM, these many GNM, these many ANMs. So NABH, if you go, you have to have some number, certain number. So if that number is fulfilled, while even hiring people, see how much they are ready to work for you. I think hiring attitude rather than skill is always important. That is first thing.
Very true.
Second thing, training is needed. It's not like कि वो आएंगे और आपको they will be the best person to to assist you. If they were so much good to assist, they will start running the show, na? So point is you need to train. Another thing, every hospital or every clinic has their own core. Now core can be different. Like for example, one hospital may be quick in, quick out is their core. So in that situation, the receptionist may not be sweet talking and everything. She will be okay, sir. Plus, but very courteous at the same time. Fast. There are some hospitals which will say no, we are the secondary referral center. So even patient also come there with 2 दिन की छुट्टी लेके आएंगे. The reason is they have already consulted 7 other doctors. So in that situation, understanding patient's pain and comforting them at the same time, these most of the times counseling and chair time is higher in referral centers, because of which you need a receptionist who will be very sweet to talk to, very understanding, empathetic. Then such kind of hiring will be an important issue. So I think understand your practice core and hire accordingly. If your practice is very higher end, you need to have some person who speaks fluent English, so that, a person is feeling, I have come to a good place. So my point is, what is your core, what you are delivering, and finally, that's how your hiring should be. That's first thing. Second thing is your definition of who should do what should be defined. KRA KPS. You should have a write down. मतलब receptionist should do 1 2 3 4 5. ये मेरा काम नहीं है, उसने बोलना नहीं चाहिए. At the same time, I feel even doctors should also not do this. See, finally it's your practice. You are doing a practice there. Suppose एक आध बार your receptionists are busy. Just going there and asking patient what's your name, चलो मैं लिख लेती हूँ, doesn't make a difference. The receptionist will also come to know, or worker under you will also come to know that you cannot say no to any work here. So that's also another thing.
Lead by example.
Third thing is that once they are trained for their work, cross training is also important.
Okay.
That's the very, very important thing. You should start inculcating that it is our setup. So because of that, you are receptionist, you are doing your work very well. Of course, they have to be good at their core work area. But once you realize that receptionist is good and the reception counter can be handled by second person also, you can immediately shift to, you can think about counseling, you can think about refraction, you can think about, investigation modalities like OCT, which are simpler. So you can train them for that, so that you are not depending on only one person. You are depending on multiple people are trained, and multiple people know about it. And third, I always say, whatever you do should be translated to your staff. Like for example, if I have bought a new machine, then you and your staff should be convinced that this is really a new machine and it is really helping you. Like for example, a very simple example I'll give you in my own practice. We purchased OCTA around a year back, and we were just exploring that kind of investigation modality. And once I was doing OCT and I realized, this is catching up this CNVM very well. And then my staff was so impressed with the machine. They said कि हाँ, अब कोई भी CNVM का पेशेंट आता है, सर OCTA ही करना, हाँ. So they have become my मुझे आने से पहले ही they have already told patient कि OCTA is only very good investigation for you. So if there is a new machine, if there is a new service you are doing, you should be able to convince your staff that it is really helpful. They will only propagate it.
Happens. I've seen that happen. A few last points. How do you do cost control in early phases?
There is nothing called as cost control. There is I always say, आपके cost defined होनी चाहिए. That's why you have to sit down with your laptop, Excel sheet open, projected numbers, these are rough numbers. I'm not saying that they should be perfect numbers, but see, your calculation should not go wrong by thousands.
Obviously.
They should go wrong by 50s and hundreds. That's okay. But you should be able to calculate and prove that these purchases are actually going to give you break even within few months first. Second, it is actually helping in your practice. And third, you should be able to upgrade them after 5 to 7 years.
Nice. Well, how should any doctor or any institution decide consultation pricing and surgery pricing? Or is this an arbitrary number?
No, it's not an arbitrary number. It can be market driven or it can be cost driven. Again, there are calculations which are available. If it is market driven, then you have to think about USP points. Like for example, now I'll go in a little bit, I'll take some time, Samir here. See, if the market is saying that, the consultation charges general is about, say, 1,000 rupees per visit or 600 rupees per visit. Consider 600 because the calculation becomes easy. And 400 is your follow-up price. So your average becomes 500. So 500 is your OPD charges. So is 500 OPD charges are able to give you cost back whatever you have invested in your OPD is something you have to ask.
Okay.
Second thing is that this is called as market driven. And second is your cost driven. Cost driven, you first spend and then you analyze and then you say, okay, this is my costing. These are called as price setters. Price setters will be those who will be, unique. They have a unique presence. Like for example, big fat hospitals, corporate hospitals, or even sometimes, unique hospitals which are only doing unique things. Like for example, in between there was this cancer chemotherapy setup, which came around before Corona. So they were only chemotherapy centers.
Medical oncology.
Yeah. And they will never do any other thing.
I mean, there is a particular center who will do only liver transplant.
Yes, like that. Yeah. So if you are that specific, then you can overcharge above the market. But if you are not, if you don't have USP, even in the hospital, there is a chance that your few services are without USPs and few services with USPs. USP is unique selling point. So those services where USP is not there and everybody is offering the same, you can charge them according to the market. And if you have some USP where you can charge extra and patient will pay extra, then you should charge extra.
Definitely. How do you track profitability? What is the metrics to track profitability? In which you care to the patient also is not compromised.
Profitability. I feel if you know your number, you know your profitability.
So bottom line is you should know your numbers. So let's talk about this very important thing now, marketing and brand building. Nowadays, one of my friends who is a pediatrician from KEM, UG, AIMS, PG. So like साला रील बनाना पड़ रहा है अभी पेशेंट लाने के लिए, क्या ज़माना आ गया, मेरी क्वालिफिकेशन तेल लेने गई. So what about all these things? Is it important?
See, brand only can happen if you have a core. If you have some core qualities, then your brand will be built on that qualities. So brand building is not a one day. मैं नहीं decide कर सकती ये मेरा brand है. You have to have practice. The brand should translate into your practice. Whatever brand you are advertising it as. Okay? So first and foremost, recognize your core and then start brand building. In brand building, you need first what is your core, define it. It should be percolated to each and everyone. Patients through social media, your staff through behavior and process managements. And third thing is that you have to watch. मतलब मैनेजमेंट ऑफ दैट, मतलब ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आप कह रहे हो कि वी आर वेरी पेशेंट फ्रेंडली एंड योर स्टाफ एट द रिसेप्शन ओनली स्क्रीमिंग एट द पेशेंट व्हाट इज दिस 5 minutes late nonsense. This cannot happen. So my point is you have to keep on monitoring it. And third thing, then after brand building, then you start advertising. It's not reverse. Nowadays people will go reverse. They start advertising and then they say this is my brand. This doesn't happen.
Organic growth is the best growth.
Organic growth is a logical growth.
Exactly.
If you are going reverse way, then you should have an excellent communication till the sweeper that this is what we are advertising. This is how you will behave.
So I've had Dr. Vinky Rugwani over here, who's the head of MMC.
Absolutely.
He said, if you are a new doctor who's starting afresh, आप न्यूज़पेपर में भी ऐड छाप दो, यू नो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. बट दिस इज ओनली वन टाइम थिंग. ऑल इफ यू आर रिलोकेटिंग, यू कैन डू दिस वन टाइम थिंग. सो यू डू एवरीथिंग वन टाइम कि दिस इज अ न्यू डॉक्टर, आई हैव स्टार्टेड हियर, यू डू दिस. आफ्टर दैट यू आर नॉट अलाउड टू whatever reels or social media campaign you educate patients, उसमें ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि you visit us. It should be to educate, and the patient feels what you're educating is good enough, he'll come to you directly. These are the rules you should go by. How do you differentiate yourself in a saturated market? Because most ophthalmologists का cataract is the bread butter. वो कैसा करने का भी?
I always say कि one service cannot be your core.
हाँ, मतलब
again I'll repeating the same statement. Your core should be either, see, there are two types of things you can advertise or you can make it as a core. First, your ability to adapt, like new machines, new things, new services, or you can go for some core quality. Core quality का disadvantage ये है, something which I feel is core may not be felt by that person, other person as a core. So growth becomes very limited. It's very slow, but it's a organic growth. आपको जल्दी ग्रो करना है, then simple चीज़ें ले लीजिए, like machinery or what you can say, the new services. But आपको slow but steady growth चाहिए, then you have to think about the soft skills, soft points as a core.
What about जैसे I've been thinking about this, a lot of chashma outlets are coming in, and those portable AR machines, they are not very accurate right now.
Absolutely.
Probably in a few years time they would have perfected it. So I'm predicting this, probably, I hope I'm wrong. In the next few years refraction is going to go away from
doctor's point of view.
Yeah, so if मतलब optometry से नहीं हो रहा है तो ही आपके पास कुछ refraction आएगा. A lot of what is the right word? A lot of different doctors are doing cataract surgeries who are not supposed to. So I'm thinking cataract भी चला जाएगा. A lot of camps and that's going to happen.
No, this will not happen. This will not happen. See, surgery is something which is completely person dependent. So that will not go away from us. That's one thing for sure. Even if the machine comes, even if the robot comes, it will take a lot of it's a human
20 years away at least.
Maybe
10
more
to 20.
than that. More than that.
But I'm thinking the future is going to be of super specialities. All your fellowships, corneas and retinas and glaucomas.
Do you really think?
I think so.
I feel AI will rather blur the lines between super speciality. AI is there. So why you need... See, basically, what is super speciality? Super speciality is going to actually give you more knowledge about some specific point. So you are going vertically deep, rather than going horizontally broad. So whenever you are going vertically deep, this vertical depth will be done by AI. So rather, my point is that AI is going to remove the boundaries between super speciality.
I have been trying this now since you brought it up. I have tried this for a few of my patients. Same patient का perimetry क्या है? Same patient का we have done a optical biometry for all the parameters. Same patient का we have done OCT पे all the images, fundus photo, everything, angle सब ले लिया. I have taken those photos, uploaded it on a AI model, and so there is a different AI which I first used. It is a prompt generator. So I gave it some ideas, then it generated a prompt for me, which I uploaded the files over there, and it gave me an analysis of. I was blown away.
Yes.
I was blown away by that analysis. मेरा दिमाग खराब हो गया देख के. So I don't know, but eventually see vitrectomy तो करना ही पड़ेगा.
Yes.
Trap probably करना ही पड़ेगा. So
the only thing is that there will be an AI assistant who will be telling you, okay, now you lift the flap.
Yes,
Now you
definitely.
cut the deep scleral
Ah.
flap, and now you do this. You are doing wrong.
So,
my point. That's
Varion
why,
system with audio input probably.
yeah. No, my point. That's why they are going to be blurred. So now generalist will again come into play, I feel.
So let's talk from scaling up to a multi-doctor setup. I think we all are daily wage workers right
Absolutely.
now. If I go to work, you go to work, we earn money. If we don't go to work, we don't earn money. So the dream is probably to the day you and I are not working, but yet the place is running by itself and it's making money.
Yes.
So you need to either duplicate yourself,
Yeah.
or you need to hire more doctors. What is there a step-by-step process by which you can tell me?
First and foremost, you need to generate your own patient base. Second, you need to train the doctor with your type of practice. See, every type of practice is different. Like, for example, there is one hospital which sees more number of patients, but they investigate thoroughly. So every patient will be seen by doctor, but he will also sit on Optos, and he will also sit on OCT, and he will also sit on NCT. So doctor work is minimum, just to write down the prescription. So whatever you are, or there are doctors where you have doctors who will completely examine you and tell you this is to be done. So whatever your method is, you have to train the next generation to that. Maybe the training problem is that the training takes a lot of time. Unless you protocolize it. You protocolize it कि ये patient आने के बाद ये करोगे और उसके बाद ये करोगे. But again, protocolization takes away a lot of individuality from you. So how much to protocolize and how much to keep it for the individuality to maintain your differentiation is up to you. But then you have to train the next generation or next person into it, and then gradually start withdrawing. Problem is not training. In doctors I have seen, problem is withdrawing.
Why? I would gladly withdraw if I have given a chance.
Please do that, and I'll be there and watching you and tell you.
वो भी होगा ना कि this is my baby, probably you are.
Yes.
भाई मत कर ऐसे.
मत कर ऐसे.
Yes, I know. Is EMR is the need of the hour. आजकल तो EMR चाहिए ही चाहिए.
Yes.
I think with EMR you should also think about inventory management softwares. In fact, I think teleophthalmology पे भी थोड़ा बहुत focus करना चाहिए.
I was surprised why teleophthalmology did not pick up after COVID. Because COVID में लोगों को आदत हो गई थी.
Yes.
But still they are coming back. I don't know.
I think it's the mindset still shift होने का है कि we need to see a doctor in physicality. वो है. Again, digital systems, paper से digital पे चले, all those ठीक है. Let's talk about this thing कि nowadays we are seeing a lot of corporate consolidation happening.
Yes.
So how can small setups survive in such an environment of corporate consolidation? Or should you think about getting consolidated at all?
मैंने लास्ट टाइम भी बोला था, इट डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हाट यू वांट टू डू विथ योर ओन प्रैक्टिस. इफ यू वांट टू गेट कंसोलिडेटेड एंड यू रिड्यूस योर वर्क, I'll give you one example. One of my friend who is in a very big hospital setup, उसके father का ही hospital है, अच्छा खासा चल रहा है. He wants to work as a doctor from 8 to 4. He said management is not my cup of tea. His father is forcing him, नहीं तुम्हें ये देखना पड़ेगा, तुम्हें वो देखना पड़ेगा. Rather, I think then the senior management should understand that junior management is not interested. They should seriously think about consolidation. First thing. Secondly, there is a doctor and who says no, ये आप मत करो, मुझे ऐसा करना है, ये आप मत करो. मतलब मेरा पेशेंट अंदर आने के बाद क्या बिहेव करेगा ये भी मैं बताऊंगा. So in that situation, consolidation is not a good option.
Not, yes, बराबर.
So I feel you should
It's
keep
an
on
individual
practicing
thing.
and market forces dictate you. Whatever happens, कितना सर predict करोगे? अब टैरिफ के बारे में किसने predict किया था?
बराबर. So how do you prepare the next generation of ophthalmologists?
That's a completely different set of question. So there is not just a training of the second generation, there is a training of the first generation also. Actually, one of my relative takes a very good, not for the doctors of course, but for second generation entrepreneurs, second generation people. They have got some analysis and consultation and all. And he says it's not just one way, it's two ways. So you need your values to be inculcated in the junior next generation, but at the same time next generation values also need to be inculcated in the senior generation. So that's,
I think it trickles down, but it doesn't go back up at times.
no, at times it both ways.
Both ways, yeah.
Both ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, many a times I've seen what they want out of the practice is completely different thinking.
I know. I have had this conversation at my house so many times. I'll give an example. I mean, so I have been recently thinking about we've started a vertical of an optical shop and all. And I asked my father कि पहले क्यों नहीं किया ये सब? He's like, एक तो we did not, in our times, we did not treat this as a business model, and such things were looked down upon. तो वो एक factor था. And so the thinking process is completely changed. I look at it from a very different perspective. My father looks at it from a very different perspective. We're starting to match abhi dheere dheere.
No, this is just a management point.
Yeah.
What you want from the business, a simple thing. The same example I'll tell you. The person who was a second generation, he said, I only want to work from 8 to 9. I don't want to get into management. But at the same time, my father has worked hard. I want to reap the benefit of the profit, which is absolutely true. Let me tell you, this is your family business. What you want out of your family business should be decided by the family. A very, very important point. And again, there should be a same thinking in first generation and second generation. How to share a profit. Is it like everything will be given to the family, those who are directors, or percentage will be given to the family, percentage will be retained by the entity, which is your business, hospital or clinic, and then that will be used for upgradation. Is everybody's personal choice, but your first generation and second generation should agree upon that point.
Yeah, very true, very true. Also, but again, which I come back to the first point, ki now the new ophthalmologists who will start coming in, they will probably not they'll just have OPDs somewhere in there.
Yes.
And
then
they would
will
have a central place. Because अभी कैसा है कि बाजू वाले ने OCT लिया तो मैं भी
मुझे भी
लूँगा.
लेना पड़ा.
So that is how we have all been functioning. I think it's all going to change.
Yes,
it's all going to change.
Yes. Practice is changing. That's why the so much ये purchase कर रहा है, ये purchase कर रहा है. This is happening because of the same.
Because
it's changing.
And healthcare in itself is changing a lot.
Yeah.
It is it's all valuation driven, it's all profit driven, it's a PE game completely.
I told you, profit driven has to be there. But
Obviously,
it should not be only profit.
That is the problem.
And for that, I feel those doctors who feel that, they can change the way medicine is working at present should go into management. Should learn management skills, should start managing. That's why I said senior doctors should not be doing OPD till end. This is a wrong concept from my point of view. That, after a certain age, they should limit OPD hours, only some limited thing, and then they should manage and use their influence to influence people, grow. They should think about growth. They should think about other things. Just like, at present we are having, like my mother-in-law is looking forward more to the management. I'm looking more towards the patient care. So if this division becomes very easy, then, things become, the experience can be utilized for something better, for the healthcare also.
Is it possible, let's say tomorrow you want to scale up even more. Right now it's all family owned right now, but
Yes.
You want to get in because nowadays those resources are available. Will you get a partner? Will you get an investor?
Yes.
Will you get somebody?
Yes, when it is the right time.
Okay.
And that right time should be defined by those two generations.
It is always said it is the third generation who
Takes away the money.
ruins it all.
Then I am the third generation. I must be very careful.
No, you are the second generation in terms of ophthalmology.
Okay.
But in any business, it is the third generation who
But
usually.
there are so many,
But
this is a very
this
wrong,
is a very old thing actually.
old thing. Another thing is that there
No,
are
but-
so many, if you see all the European businesses, even in the India, there are so many businesses which are run in the family and they are thriving, 10th generation also.
Because all those they have planned for legacy transfer in a particular way.
Yes.
Transition has already been planned and implemented in a particular
That is what
way.
I am coming to. Ki you have to plan.
Ha.
And that's why a unit of family business is run differently
Yes.
than a corporate business.
I mean, in fact, there is a book, I don't know if I'll give it to you. It says ki when you grow up in a business family or you come from a lineage of businesses, you as a child are groomed very differently.
Differently, absolutely.
There is no child beating जो अपने को बचपन में थप्पड़ पड़ा चप्पल पड़ा. Every there is a very small example. A child who was doing something and he failed. So when he came back home, his father sat with him. He's like, "What did you learn? Where do you think you went wrong? What do you think you will do to fix it the next time?" And this conversation gave him a different
Perspective.
boost
Different
of confidence. Ki yaar, I am not being put at fault for doing something wrong. Instead, I mean, it wasn't something wrong. He didn't score well in academics, basically. And his father and parents, they broke down the system for him. Ki, examine why this happened, correct it, and then so fail fast wala jo hai cheeze, that they are taught at a very early age actually.
No. It's not just about fail fast and grow later. It's also about, those micro, ज्याला संस्कार म्हणते. Micro samskar happens. Like, for example, I'll tell you how. Now, I am also brought in a family, but my father was just a clinical practitioner and he never wanted to grow in a big way. मतलब just जैसे मैंने declare किया I'm not going to be pediatrician, he closed down many things. So the point is, and my husband is brought in a completely different environment. But small things like, how to behave with some XYZ person, how to behave with your staff, how to keep your stuff close to you, at the same time keep a specific distance. That is very well learned by my husband, but I'm very poor at that. So I learned it from my husband and my in-laws, these all things. So these are, those micro samskar which are continuously happening, and that is the reason why they can grow up. Now, why this only doesn't translate into third generation, I have no clue about. But to be very frank, I feel this is a very skewed data. We need to reprocess the data.
No, this was what they said for earlier generations.
Huh.
And this is also true for in families or businesses where legacy planning or the transfer is not planned in a certain way. It is always seen.
And another thing is that, I told you, it has to be treated, what you want, how is your family business structure, how you want your hair to come down. Will you only allow your relatives to come down, or will you hire a secondary person? These all things should be defined. How the family will control the business, that has to be defined. So it's called as 4-room concept. When we were taught about the family business in MBA, that is called as 4-room concept. So there is a family room, there is a decision making, board room, then there is a your management room, that is CEO, CFO and everything, and then there are other rooms. Like, for example, how you will stock exchange hai aapke partner se other, wo iska room. So there has to be a great communication between these 4 rooms. So this is a beautiful concept that you have to segregate where family will stop influencing things. What are the rules for the family room? What are the rules for the board room? What are the rules for the executive room? That has to be very well defined.
Very true, very true. I mean, a lot of times I feel your emotions should not be able to dictate your business decisions.
Absolutely.
That is the worst thing you will ever have.
But let me tell you, sometimes emotion help.
So obviously,
they can,
yes,
obviously. अगर वो अच्छा काम के लिए लगाया, the business can boom.
Yes, definitely. No, what I mean by emotions is by jealousy, negative emotions.
Negative emotions,
usually.
Yes.
They'll you ruin.
No. For that, the family room will help. In that, you can always say, see, this is not about jealousy. You give us the logical explanation for that, and then, we may think about it.
Barabar. Chalo, I think we've covered everything.
Almost everything,
कुछ बचा
yes.
है?
नहीं, आप बताओ।
नहीं पता नहीं. Thank you for being here. मजा आया.
बहुत मजा आया
And,
तुमसे बात करके.
I think we finished almost an hour of this.
Yes.
Um,
I didn't realize that.
I told you we'll finish it in an hour. चलो बरं झालं. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
hope to see you again.
Wow, very good.
Once again.
Thank you
Yes.
once again.
चलो.